Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Darkfire Taverns, where heroes meet. The name's JF, also known as Darth Frog, and with me here, I not only have my usual partner in crime, Prabhu, best known as Narakesari, but today we also are joined by our special co-host, Darce, the one and only Genzik. How's it going, guys?
It is all good. All good. You guys?
Couldn't be better. Glad to be here. Only took 7 episodes.
uh, well, for this special episode, we're just going to talk a bit about clans in general. While we have a third opinion with us, we'll also go through some of the questions that we've been having in our mailbag channel on Darkfire Tavern Discord server. If you haven't already joined, join it. That's where you can enter for the gold chest giveaway, which will also tell you who won at the end of the show. But before we go, what did you guys think of last weekend's Arena Bash?
I felt it was, really, really choppy, laggy there for a bit. I remember seeing someone post in Discord, I believe from Legends only, that almost unplayable there for a bit of it. And we were talking about back in the olden days when we had our season-wide PvP events. And imagine playing like that back then. I mean, we would have uninstalled the game.
Yeah, well, wasn't there at one point where it didn't even work at all?
Hey, you couldn't log in.
But other than that, I mean, did you have fun getting 6,700 wins for Diablo 2 and not even win?
I actually had a great time. After the first day playing on Gen, I logged into my alt level 15 because I was tired of facing my own clan, and it was fun. Saturday was a great day of playing.
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, as Jen said, I mean, coming up against the clan, but also coming up against the guys from the other top clans. And I think I'd lost 5 castle matches in a row. And castle matches are pretty quick, typically. It's around 30 seconds, so you know you can bang out quite a few quickly. But I lost 5 in a row, and that is the first time in a long time that I lost 5 in a row. And I was like, okay, I'm swapping over to race. And I think my first match in race, I fought the king of race, Vasil himself. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Am I not getting a break here at all?
No, and that was the one part that I really liked because there was so many people on and so many people actually playing. It was playing against humans. And I found that I got bored so bad lately of playing Arena in general because it's all bots. So I do my keys and that's it. And I was actually excited to play this weekend with people. So to me, I think this showed what PvP could be in the future if you're always meeting up with human opponents. I'm sure that the lower level, newer players are all matching up against each other most of the time, but for us longer in the tooth players, I think it was a fun change.
Like Prabs there, I got kicked out of Castle as well. I lost a couple good ones to our guys, and I moved into race. And it had been a long time since I had done race. It was quite fun. I don't believe I fought
You
anyone
ended
but
my
people.
win streak. I was unbeatable. Like I was not losing to anybody. And all of a sudden it's like, here's Genzik. And I'm like, let me give it to the boss. And it's like, no, I lose. And I'm like, I made one tiny little mistake and then I lose this. It's like that was
After I pushed to a couple K, the towers got a little stronger, and it's so hard to win when the towers are just get blown away. But when you get about 2 or 3K in of trophies, the towers are a little bit more substantially hit point driven, and you can it's a little bit better to fight people.
Yeah, I think that's the thing with Arena, especially at the start of the season, where you have the towers really low and the mobs as well. It's pretty much anyone's game. But as they level up, then the skill comes into it a lot more. And also higher count levels, right? So
yeah, that's
I'm not
true.
complaining there. But I guess, I mean, from what Daz was saying earlier, right? So with us, and we tend to play bots a lot more. But as we can see, as more and more players are ranking up or leveling up their accounts, it should get a lot more exciting now. See that in the leaderboards for the events as well.
I don't necessarily find it exciting by fighting someone that I'd never heard of before. And they have a level 25 jargon on me and they destroy me. But it is different for sure. I fought a few people this weekend that I'd never heard of before who clearly beat me in Castle, not in race.
I have not moved back to Castle. I don't think I have the I don't have the timing anymore for that, so I'm sticking with race.
I almost feel that it's more unforgiving now than it used to be. You don't have that mushroom guy in opening hand. You're probably going to lose to a top player.
Yeah, that's why I think they should go with a 2-3 split instead of a 5-1 way. That would change the dynamics of that, but that's another time. Any other words on Bash, or are we gonna move to something more less bashful?
So let's open up this mailbag. Come on. Who's going to go first?
The first one is kind of two different people, two different questions, but very similar. One was Arceus Sai asked, here's a question for you guys. Who's your favorite champion that almost no one uses? And Stay Thirsty asked, what heroes are you finding more use for that weren't previously in meta for race or castle? So basically, a hero that is not meta anywhere, and why do you like using them? You want to go ahead, Jen?
I unfortunately, everyone knows I stick with my castle team. I haven't added or subtracted since I started the game. But definitely, I've seen some neat stuff. When that green stunner came out, say his name,
What, Bizarre?
Makamish,
Oh,
the
Makash?
Oh,
my gosh, that guy. Um, when you started using him and then everyone started using him, that's just prime stuff. And over the bash, I seen a lot of people using the totem guy
Yeah,
and
Bizarre.
just 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 winning on that. I mean, obviously they weren't winning versus me, but it was such a good strategy that I'd never thought of or seen. And I just watched a couple replays of people using it correctly, and just how beneficial that character is that no one has ever even thought of using.
Well, Bizarre, actually, I've seen Lego, a lot of people from Legends Only use him before. So I think it was an internal secret that they had. And after using him, he'll be in my rotation regularly. What about you, Brabs?
I mean, the thing is that with the meta for Castle and Rice at the moment, we pretty much have them all covered, right? If you look at the main guys, it's just like Jose, Lorenzo, and the like. So there aren't that many in there. But
What about outside
one that I've
of
started
PvP?
experimenting. So outside of PvP, I mean, I was a big fan of Owl for a long time, right, as a healer. And you guys know, it's like I convinced everybody, Owl's the healer, she's the best, she's the best. But once I started playing around, and especially once you hit the higher levels, I started using Fina a lot more. And I think she's definitely, I mean, from a heal per second point of view, she definitely heals more, but she requires a lot more manual aiming with the skill. But that's subtracting away from Owl's the leader skill.
What I find really interesting is as you talk about Fina being needing a lot of manual aiming. Another hero that I use that I love and nobody really likes is Asashi. And the reason why I think people don't like her is because they try to manually play her skill. Where she becomes really good is when there's a lot of small mobs and you just keep on autoing her skill, her hero power. People that are trying to aim her will miss. She is fantastic on the AI is fantastic on knowing where to go and where the majority of the enemies are to slash through. So she's my one of my favorite heroes, let alone one of my favorite heroes that nobody really uses. And in PvP, I love Kare. His leadership skill, and it was Omi from Spawns one time just mentioned it in game chat. And I was like, oh, this map is pretty good. It's got a lot of little skeletons. I'll use them. And the amount of charge that you get for your other heroes is insane to the point where I don't even use his ability. He just runs along and he's just there for his leadership skill. And that's it. He's super fun and you just get to use. One time I ended up using Elsie 4 times in one race because everybody else was sludged or frozen and she was in front and she just kept jumping in the big stacks of skeletons and being recharged by basically 85% every time she spun and killed everybody. So she's fun.
That's one of the cool things about deeper dungeons, where we're using heroes and synergies and stuff that we really don't use. Such a cool thing they added to the game. It's definitely heroes like, obviously I don't know the hero's name, but the one that casts that circle and it heals everyone inside of it, the water healer, super solid.
Imani.
Again, nobody matches the
I'm
Alun.
gonna stop you here for a quick sec. I need to talk to the people out there that don't know you personally. Jenzik is about the worst person with names, written or now clearly orally. So give him a break. He'll tell you their abilities, and we'll fill in with the
Yeah.
name. But you mentioned something about synergies, and that was another question. I'll lead it to you. Is what's your favorite synergy combo in the game?
Well, a really cool thing again with these deeper dungeons is you need synergies to actually get through them. Level fives are unpleasant for most of our clan, but today, prime example, we were talking in Discord about how I'm using obviously three heroes that I can't name, but there's synergies where they're healing each other with Ray's lead ability and all that. They're almost constantly shielded, and I was able to get through the stuff with those synergies, and just super powerful.
So
Yeah,
Raybird and
so I'll
Safine.
jump in there.
Yeah,
I'll jump in there, right? So you're
Eh,
talking about Raybert as the healer,
yeah,
Safine as your tank. So you have dual tanks there, Raybert and Safine,
yeah,
and you're using Timoni as he does a heal, a small heal as well, and he
yeah.
has a summon. So if anybody's looking for the names, those are the three.
And the new hero that's hitting the dazed guys for extra damage as well. So she cleaned up the mobs relatively
What's her
nicely.
name?
There's no L in Valdoma.
The
Not
Dome.
Val. Vadoma. Vadoma. Anyway, she's solid. Obviously not as solid as some, but with the 6+6 boost, she's doable.
All right. Do you have anything else to add to that, Brabs, for synergies?
I mean, Synergy's the one that I enjoy the most is Dagmir. I like to run a crit team, and so it's just with her in the team. 50% damage output, 50% boost to attack speed. What's not to like there?
Especially at max level. I mean, we get so much value from that at level 25 that just you can't beat it with a stick.
So Ace asked, "What's your favorite or least favorite weekend event format and why?" And I'll leave that to you guys because I've mentioned on the show a few times that my favorite is the duo, now possibly trio, with the new heroes. Other than that, I'll. What about you guys?
I'll jump in first. So Waves used to be my favorite, but I just haven't been enjoying it lately, and so I'll probably go for Brawl. I really enjoy the Brawl events. They push you a lot more now. I mean, this last event was brutal, right? They were extremely hard, the last few, but generally the Brawl events I enjoy because you actually have the boss in there that use some AI, right? They are targeting you with spells, etc. And it'll be good to see that jump across into the general arena as well. I mean, I guess you could say put it on for players level 16 and over. So you have a bit of a honeymoon period when you join the game before you start getting murdered by bots.
Yeah, that was the light and dark only brawl. That was difficult. I found difficult. I don't own Crawl on my team. I don't have him, so it was difficult to play. Obviously, my favorite is the boss. I was talking with a buddy of mine the other day. He liked the old way that it was done, with tickets on clan boss, solo boss. If you could get lucky with tickets, you could play that event for probably 2 hours. You'd get a ticket, you'd go back and forth. Now, with the strict four every 4 hours,
Yeah, but
three
that's
hours,
why I
4
hated it though.
that's what I explained too. I said this new way is so much better, but it's forcing you, I feel, to buy tokens. Really, you hammer out your floor, and that's it.
But they need to do something with the like a max of whatever, but the resetting the 4 hours and then giving you the full amount of tickets so that I look on my phone, I'm like, I've got an hour and a half left. So I've basically used 2.5 hours of wait time. But I have a few minutes to play some. I'd like to buy some tickets, but if I buy tickets, it's resetting my time to 4 hours. I'm like, why would I do that? It's not intuitive for you to want to play the boss. Like, and it never has.
It's
So
forcing you. Yeah, it's forcing you to play it their way. And there's a lot
Yeah.
of mechanics in the game that is forcing you to play that way. Salvage day, campaign day, all those things, essence dungeons, basically forcing you to choose what to do.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, if they made those a bit more often, then we wouldn't feel so pigeonholed. And I guess with boards as well, what they could do is actually have split that into two boards. So you have one for your default tickets that you get every 4 hours, and you have a second board for your purchase tickets, right? And so you have your purchase tickets giving a slightly lower reward, but it still gives you something. So you say, okay, your reward will be 50% of what your allocated tickets would be normally. So that way, players who want to spend the money and who want to buy those tickets are still rewarded, but not to the same extent as.
But you know what?
Maybe with a vanity. Sorry.
But I play another game where there's those types of events, and they give you 10 energy. That's it. That's what you get, but you can buy 5 more, right? So same thing with here. You calculate 4, you've got what, 6 times 6, so you're given 24 tickets max from boss. So give me my 24 tickets to be spent however I want, whenever I want throughout the day. I spend my 24 tickets. If I've now that I'm maxed out, I can't do it anymore. Then allow me to go and purchase more if I want to play more. But just give me my 24 tickets now and let me play it the way I want, when I want, and not have to put a timer on my phone. There's too many timers. Like I'm setting timers for my phone to do stuff.
Yeah, but that doesn't reward the hardcore player that wakes up at 1 o'clock in the morning to play, and then 4 hours later, and then four
How's that
hours.
quality of life though?
Well, when
Games
you're
that
over
survive
40,
have quality.
you're over 40, you don't sleep more than 4 hours anyway. Half of our guild have small children; they don't even sleep.
Because there's also a difference in time zones, right?
Yes.
Probs is finding us very funny, by the way.
He laughed the whole
No,
last
yeah,
one too.
yeah, I'm laughing a lot because I was chasing Fugs for the boss. I woke up at 1 o'clock and I woke up at 5 o'clock and I was in the lead and I was like, okay, cool. Hopefully Fugs is fast asleep. And I think it was the last 10 or 15 minutes he decided to wake up. And yep, I was happy with my second place though. My sleep wasn't, but yeah.
But we had a couple players in D2 that were doing more damage to the boss than full clans. I mean, that normally happens, but I mean, that's crazy.
All right, well, let's move on from this one. Here's a good one from Not Worth Killing, who says, out of all the suggested changes you guys are aware of, if you could snap your fingers and instantly make it a thing, which would you choose? He's saying not to ask for another 1,000 wishes, but I've never seen that suggested anywhere. So
I would choose not to fight clan members in bash events. It's got to stop.
Prabs?
So one of the ones that was suggested was kind of like a Mage Tower or an Endless Tower, right? So think of how we have waves or something like that, but you actually go in and enemies get harder as you go along, right? So it's kind of like a seasonal thing with the PvP as well. You could go in at any time that you want, and you could go in with a different team, etc., and you could push yourself to see how far can you take things, right? And it's a good sounding board for people to play around with different teams, different makeups, but without there being a penalty as such. And I think it'll promote people to explore the heroes a lot more. I mean, deeper dungeons are there, but there's a cost attached to it. If you fail, then you lose something. With the Mage Tower, you can actually go in and you can enjoy yourself.
And deeper dungeons don't work until after you're 25. So this would for sure force lower level players to start practicing with the new heroes.
Yeah, definitely. And it also adds into the synergy question that was asked earlier, right? So people can actually explore those things and they actually see, well, what works better? When do I need to bring in a tank? Which tank works better according to certain damage? And it also allows them to see the different types of enemies out there, right? What about you, Dot?
24-hour arena bash instead of 48?
But during a work day, that's difficult. When are you going to put it?
I don't know. Um, there's also the give us the bestiary and give us the charge time. Somebody suggested that to give us the charge time on the hero power. I think that would be really useful.
You guys didn't mention higher energy cap.
Amen.
Yeah. If anybody mentioned that, yeah, 100%. We're going to move on to announcing our winner of the 5th gold chest giveaway. And as usual, I had Adriana do the draw, and it will have a little video of it on our YouTube channel if you want to check it out. She's actually quite funny. If you haven't watched these little videos, they're actually quite fun. They're only like 30 seconds long, so by all means, go check them out. They're super fun. So the winner for this one is none other than Olo Iopia Emrys. So congratulations, buddy. That's awesome. You've been a listener since the start. So awesome to have you win this one.
I've PvP'd versus that guy. He's pretty good.
I haven't had the pleasure, but I've spoken to him a few times, and yeah, no, really nice person. So yeah, congrats. And I guess that brings us over to last call, right? I just want to give a massive shout out to Formosa for the job well done. You guys pushed, and it was amazing to have another clan pushing us that far.
Yeah, 7,000 wins is something else. And talking with Stormy and Seven, they were quite happy of what they did, and they were happy that Diablo 2 pushed them as far as they did.
Well, on a further note to that, like the last few bashes that we've had, we've been ×2 most of the other guilds to actually not only not win, but become second against someone other than Spawn. That's a pretty big deal.
Yep. Congratulations, guys.
Hopefully in the main event, we only see gold frames from that group.
So that brings us to the end. So on behalf of Prabs and Darce and myself, until I come up with something better, have fun storming the castle.